Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys tuning in for today's episode. And guys, I got a really cool fish story for you guys today you're not going to believe. It's probably, out of all the fish that I've ever caught in my life, this is probably the most unusual bass that I have ever caught. It weighed 7 pounds also, and I have never caught a bass like this in my entire life except one time. And I don't even know what happened here. I'm gonna try to explain to you guys what happened in this tournament. Maybe you guys can explain to me how I even caught this fish. So we're gonna get into that in today's video. And actually guys, heading back right now, I had an on-the-water lesson at Table Rock Lake today. Speaking of on-the-water lessons, guys, if you'd like to book one with me, all you have to do is go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat, and just shoot me a private message for details. Appreciate that. And also guys, thank you very much for everybody that has taken time to subscribe here at Intuitive Angling and join up as a channel member or a Patreon member. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much for me and my family if you've been one of the people that have done that. Okay guys, I guess it'd be a good time to tell a story because I didn't get a chance to do the video day. I was been on the water all day long, but I got thinking about, you know, I reflect a lot on my career as a professional angler and some of the memorable things that's happened. And I got one thing that happened to me, guys, at Lake Chickamauga in Tennessee. And I believe this was like, God, when was this? This was sometime back in the early 90s or late 80s. I can't even remember. There was I think it was a Western bass tournament. They had some big specialty tournament down at Lake Chickamauga that I fished. It was some big money tournament. It's been so long ago, I can't even remember what the deal was with it. And guys, this one fish that I caught, I have never seen anything like this before. This was like a 3-day tournament, and the second day of the tournament, I hadn't been doing any good. I think I had 3 fish in the boat or something like that, and they were decent fish. They weren't great, but they were like, you know, 2.5 pounders. So I was working on a pretty decent limit, and then about probably with an hour and a half left in the day, I caught my 4th one. About another 2-pounder that gave me, I had 4 fish in the boat that probably weighed, I don't know, 10 or 11 pounds, and I still needed one more fish for my limit to do good. And I figured that, you know, in this tournament, if I could catch 13 or 14 pounds, you know, I'd have pretty good. So I needed one decent fish, and I'm fishing down this bank. And at Chickamauga, guys, I was fishing actually there was this place, I can't remember, but it was the creek where all the big tournaments took out of. So there was a lot of release fish in this tournament. So I'm working down this bank, and I think, if I can remember right, I think I was throwing a crankbait. I can't remember. So again, it's been so long. I'm pretty sure it was a small crankbait I was throwing. And anyway, I'm working down the bank, and I looked up in front of me, and I see this big bass swimming underneath the surface. I mean, a big one. And I get up to it there, and it's like, you know, I wasn't even sure if it was a bass at first, but I get up to it, and I'm close enough to it, and I can see this bass, and it's like covered with that, you know how when they're sick, they got like some type of fungus growing on them. This bass was like, it had fungus growing all over it. It was obviously sick. And one eye, it looked like the one eye was blind or something in it. This bass looked like hell. It was a big one. So anyway, I've seen bass like this before, and you know, they don't ever bite. You know, when you catch them, like when you see one like that, they're sick. So anyway, guys, I picked up at the time, I had a small spinnerbait on there, and I picked up the small spinnerbait, and I said, well, I'm just gonna throw it by this fish and see what happens. Guys, I throw that little spinnerbait by that fish, and I got it, and I reeled it probably 3 inches in front of its nose. That bass darted out there and grabbed that spinnerbait, and I caught it. 7-pounder. It gave me the limit for the day, and I got that fish in the boat, and even my co-angler couldn't believe it. It's like, I cannot believe that fish bit. So I get it in the boat and unhooked it and everything, and it survived the rest of the day. I had like an hour left to fish, and I weighed the fish in, and I knew it wasn't going to make it, but it was still alive when I weighed it in. But I have never seen that before, because I've seen these fungus covered bass swimming before, and if I'm in a tournament, I always cast over to it just to see if they'll bite it, and most of the time they just ignore it or they swim away. They don't do anything. But this was the first bass fungus covered bass on its way out that I have ever seen, you know, bite like that. Now, when I threw over there, the fish was facing me, its blind eye was facing me. So I don't know if the fish even saw the bait. It may have like felt the vibration of the spinner bait and just like instinctively darted out and got it. But it was blind in one eye, and like I said, just nasty. I didn't even want to hardly hold the thing. The thing was so nasty looking. But anyway, that was one of the most memorable, unusual fish that I've ever caught in my entire career. I wanted to share with you guys. But you know, I'll think of some more, guys. I've had a bunch of them out there that, you know, were sort of like that. But that's one that I'll never forget, because I always looked at, because it seems like about, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a year, I'll see bass swimming like that are just like, they look like something's wrong with them, like they're a little bit sick. And they're usually like real close to the surface, like this one was. But this was the biggest one that I have ever seen that was actually swimming and alive, that was in some bad trouble, and the sucker bit, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story with you guys. Hope everything's well. We'll check in later.